This is Tim of the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, you know what? It's over. We're moving on. We got to get ready for the Washington football team on Thursday. Short week, short turnaround. We still have to talk about what happened Sunday a little bit. We got to chat about it a little bit. We got to see some things a lot about it. And it's funny though, because of the fact that everyone's trying to point the blame or not try to point the blame or figure out what's causing these problems, and it all seems to come back, to my mind, to one thing: Jason Garrett, Scapegoat. Jason Garrett. He is now the ire of Giant fans. It's his fault. Everything's his fault. Jason Garrett, Scapegoat. Because it's Jason Garrett. He's calling the plays wrong. He's not doing what he should be doing. He's running too many curl routes. He's running too many fade routes. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Okay. All right, guys. Relax. You need to understand the Giants are built on an offensive philosophy. And the offensive philosophy is dictated and predicated by the play of the quarterback. So if the quarterback cannot do certain things, or if a coaching staff sees that a quarterback is limited in his ability to do certain things, you don't do those things. And I'm saying it one more time, and I'm going to say it 100 times. Jason Garrett's offensive philosophy or offensive game plan is all part of Joe Judge's team philosophy. It's not like Jason Garrett's going out on a limb and turning around and just throwing caution into the wind and just doing all these things without the approval. Because I think we've noticed now that Joe Judge is kind of a control freak. He doesn't know when not to throw the red flag, but he's a control freak. A little bit of a narcissist too. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that until another day. It's all part of Judge's philosophy. And I guarantee you right now, the Giants coaching staff is sitting in a room and sitting there and devising a game plan to play to Daniel Jones' strengths. And that's how an offensive philosophy is built. The offensive philosophy itself is built off the team philosophy dictated by the head coach. Anyone who thinks that Jason Garrett's renegade and doing whatever he wants to do does not understand how the nuances of football works. As someone who's played in college and worked in the pros, I can tell you this for a fact. There's an overall philosophy that the coaches build off of in reference to the skills of the players that they have. Now, if you want to blame Jason Garrett for anything, you can blame him for the growth process of Daniel Jones, but you also need to blame the quarterback coach. You need to blame the head coach as well. Because everything that we have seen last year reared its ugly head. And I love when people say to me, well, Mark Schlereth, he was stealing your red striping. I've been talking about red striping since last season. If you watch that game, Daniel Jones maybe had 4 or 5 plays where he went through his reads and went through his progressions. All the other times, if you really watch, he's really looking down one wide receiver. Now, it doesn't matter if the other wide receivers are running a curl route, doesn't matter if they're running a fade, doesn't matter if they're running a slant, doesn't matter if they're running an old hook and ladder play. If you're only looking at one guy, how can you see the rest of the field? Case in point, something that Pat Shurmur did with Teddy Bridgewater. He shortened the field for him, and you can watch it. Teddy would roll to the left. He would roll to the right. Now, what he did is Shurmur was cutting the field in half for Bridgewater, but giving him options on that half of the side of the field. He'll have a deep route, and he'll have an intermediate route, and then he'll have a dump off. And he shortened his field of vision, which allowed him, also didn't hurt that the Giants secondary couldn't stop anyone. but it shortened his field and allowed him not to make the mistakes by giving him the options on one side of the field. Now, he didn't do that all the time because Teddy had to improvise a couple times. But if you watch a lot of the design rollouts for Bridgewater, that's what Pat Shurmur was doing. That's kind of what Pat Shurmur did his rookie season with our Daniel Jones' rookie season. He shortened the field, he cut it in half, and gave Daniel Jones basically one option outside of a dump-off. Now, the problem is this philosophy will work for a period of time. But then smart coordinators will figure out, okay, this is what they're going to do when they're in this formation. This is what they're going to do when this guy runs this route. This is what this guy's going to do. Once you get film, and I've said this a bazillion times, once you get film, that's what happens. I laugh. Joe Judge was on NFL, Joe Judge, not Joe Judge. John Gruden was on NFL radio today. And I laugh because he was talking about what he did in the offseason was he took, I think it was 360-something runs of Lamar Jackson and put him on like a combined CD or a combined tape or whatever you want to say and sent it out to his defensive players. And, and I laugh because one of my jobs was to combined, was to do things like that. And I just had flashbacks. I'm sorry. Just having flashbacks. But that you have to look at the fact that the development of Daniel Jones is not strictly and solely on Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, why people can say his play calling is unimaginative, it's because of the fact that as a team philosophy, I feel they don't trust Daniel Jones. And they don't trust Daniel Jones not to make the mistake because you have a feeling every time you do that, you have a feeling that Daniel Jones is going to make the mistake. You always have this feeling in the back of your mind that Daniel Jones is going to have that catastrophic mistake that is going to doom the Giants. The Giants were in this game until the fumble. And that kind of turned everything around. And I still love Joe Judge's excuse that he was trying to get the referee's attention by throwing the red flag. He couldn't run on the field, couldn't jump up and down, he couldn't wave his hands. And then you were doing that after the kick. So you wanted to talk about and challenge a play that was technically 2 plays ago. I'm not buying the excuse. Sorry. And I will give him props for standing up and saying, it was my fault. And that he should have known better. But he knows the rules. It doesn't look like you know the rules, Joe, because if you knew the rules, why didn't you just wait till after the kick and then walk over before you kicked off? Because there's plenty of time. And then speak to the refs then. Why would you throw the red flag? I mean, the Broncos had just gone up 17-17. You were still technically in the game. But then you decide that you're going to throw the flag and lose the timeout. Just saying, just throwing it out there. But before this is like the Giants back under Jerry Reese. First, we're going to blame the coordinators. Then we're going to blame the coach. Then we're going to blame the general manager, and then we're going to start all over again. I'm not saying it's going to be that bad, but I am saying this. You cannot blame Jason Garrett without blaming Joe Judge. And thinking that going to Freddie Kitchens. I love people. Freddie Kitchens had one successful season as a coordinator. And then he got the head coaching job, lost the locker room, and got fired after one season. And he's going to be the savior? I sometimes think fans just need to figure shit out, man, because it's just like, it drives me insane when I hear these stupid things. And that's what they are. They're stupid. Freddie Kitchens, the savior. Freddie Kitchens basically is working with the offensive line coaches because they're all new. That's basically what he's doing. He's not in the game planning. And for you to think that the game planning is going to improve because Freddie Kitchens is involved, you think that's going to have, we're going to let that music drum in. That music jumped in quick today. You think you're going to have Daniel Jones figure out where Kenny is on the field? Or are you going to have him figure out that he shouldn't be locking on the Sterling Shepard? Or he should understand that there is a tight end somewhere on the field as well? And it's okay to check things down? And then people are like, well, you know what you needed to do with, and I love people because you know what you needed to do. Well, I'm always like, tell me, what did you need to do? You need to throw out to like screens to Barkley in the flat and do this. You just ran him up the gut. Okay. I want to talk about that for a second too, because this is another part of generalized stupidity. Why do you think they ran Barkley more towards the middle of the field and didn't try to bounce him outside? Let's think for a second. When did he get hurt in week 2? What was he doing? He was trying to do too much and bounce it to the outside. The safest place for Saquon Barkley to be on the field with his knee, to test his knee, is in the middle of the field. Ground and pound between the tackle and the guard if you want, between guard and the center. But that's the safest place for him on the field. Not bouncing him outside where he is probably going to try to cut and do other things that he may not be 100% confident in doing. And when you're not 100% confident in doing something, that's when you get hurt. Just saying. And again, if you want to talk about the game plan with Daniel Jones, it was Daniel Jones's very poor reads that almost allowed him to throw multiple passes that should have been intercepted. There were times where Daniel Jones made the incorrect decision to throw the ball in certain places. And also didn't help we had a couple drops. But he has to read better. The offensive line, God bless its soul, didn't look terrible outside of Von Miller abusing Nate Solder on that one play. Did not look terrible. Did not look horrid. But if you cannot make the correct read to go where to go with the ball, you cannot be a successful quarterback. And that should not be blamed on Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett, scapegoat.
If you want Jason Garrett to be the scapegoat, that's fine. It's not going to change or fix Daniel Jones's problems. Plain and simple. If you want to get excited about the garbage touchdown at the end of the game, when the Broncos were simply playing a prevent defense, that's great because that just tells me that Daniel Jones can understand how to read a prevent defense, which is basically let them have whatever they get underneath and don't let them go deep. These are the things that we need to focus on as an organization. Having this game would look a lot better, and this team would look a lot better if Daniel Jones learned how to go through his progressions. Watch the film. Watch him at times lock on singularly to a player and not look away ever. I counted at least 4 times he should have been intercepted. 4 times. Kyle Fuller jumped the route that one time and just missed. The other guy, when Kyle Rudolph turned around, was dumbfounded that the ball was coming right at him. The Kyle Rudolph play was a bad throw. The Devontae Booker play was a bad throw. There were plenty of bad throws to go around with Daniel Jones. So what we've learned this week is Giant fans are going to blame Jason Garrett for everything. Daniel Jones still has not learned to read defenses. Joe Judge thinks it's okay to throw the red flag to get somebody's attention, which it makes me laugh because there are other ways to get people's attention. And now just talking quickly about the Redskin game. The Washington game. I mean, if we're going to get healthy, we're 4.5 dogs right now. I don't think we should be 4.5 dogs. If you look at it, we got Fitzpatrick out. We got the running back Gibson, who went out with the shoulder but came back. He was limited in practice today. Saquon Barkley was limited in practice today because of the knee. Shane Lemieux, Evan Ingram, and Cam Brown did not practice at all today, which is Monday. Today's Tuesday. So it'll be interesting on this short week what they do with Saquon. I think when the team's starting running back and starting quarterback is out, it should lend to the Giants having a better day. So let's focus on Washington. This is the last video about the debacle in Denver, against Denver. We'll do a breakdown of the Washington game tomorrow. I think I'm going to try to do the live stream. But I don't know when I'm going to do it. The live stream preview. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we're going to do that. But let's just hope it gets better. Pray the secondary figures it out. Pray Daniel Jones can read some defenses, and we'll all go from there. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, and that plays into me.